that should definitely not be there. Hi guys, I'm Paul from Paramount and VIEZU Technologies, and today we have this beautiful Jaguar XKR 5 litre. I've got a real soft spot for XKRs. I've had a few of them myself. Lovely, lovely gentleman's touring car. Runs the 5 litre engine, as we commonly see in a lot of the JLR range, and one of the things that can be a problem with this engine is the supercharger and the supercharger coupler particularly. And this car has been presented with quite a noisy supercharger today. It's in for us to investigate. I've had a listen to the car already and I have to say it's pretty noisy. So let's fire up and just have a little listen to what we're actually looking for here. So I hope that came okay through the microphone. What you should have heard is quite a distinctive loud chatter from the front of the engine here. That is absolutely classic supercharger noise when the coupler starts to fail. You'll also notice when we shut the engine down, it got a little rattly. That too is another sign. That's the sign of the coupler failing, but I have to be honest, this car's done quite a few miles and that coupler sounds really, really noisy to me. I've got a feeling we might definitely be looking at shaft damage on this particular car, and we'll take the, as we take the coupler off, we'll see the shaft that it sits on and we'll see if that's the case. But I am a touch worried because the gravelly sound of this noise, we could be talking about supercharger bearings too. So let me just explain what the difference is. The coupler sits here right at the front of the snout of the supercharger, and in there is the coupler. Now the idea behind this is to stop the bearings inside the supercharger being shocked when you put your foot suddenly on the throttle, come off suddenly or change gear. This actually dampens the impact of the turning motion, the torque. So therefore, it softens the damage to the bearings. Now, when this starts to break up and stop working, that torque is transferred directly to the bearings of the supercharger. So if you start to get a noisy coupler, it's really important to change it as quickly as possible, because if not, damage will be being done to the internal components of your supercharger. Now, it has become quite common recently for people to change these couplers with solid state couplers. So these are, I'm going to say a squishy rubber, but they're not squishy at all actually, they're very firm rubber. But there's no spring or dampening within this. The dampening only comes from the actual rubber complex itself. The problem with this is, in my experience, we've seen quite a lot of superchargers go on to fail after having these fitted because they frankly don't offer the same damping as the original equipment. So my recommendation is always change a coupler when it fails with an original equipment coupler. And let's be honest, these things are wear and tear items. It's designed to wear, it's working all the time up to 18,000 RPM. Be prepared to change your coupler at probably 50,000 miles. I'll put a quick caveat to that. In my experience, the harder you drive your car, the quicker the coupler will fail. So I have a badge of honour that mine failed at 20,000 miles. I drive my car very enthusiastically. And if you're certainly using your cars in sort of track day environments, be prepared for the coupler to fail much, much quicker. And I'll say again, it's important if it does start to become noisy, you get it investigated as quickly as possible. Because about here on the supercharger is a set of front bearings, and they will start to be damaged by too much torque being passed through them. And then there's another set of bearings at the back of the supercharger. The good news is the front ones carry most of the load and they are actually replaceable. But what you end up with is what should have been a simple coupler change is now a complete supercharger rebuild. If you don't change it quickly enough, too much play in your bearings will actually damage the blades inside your coupler and damage the back bearings, and they can't be changed. So now you're into a supercharger. I'm hoping we've caught this early enough, although if I'm honest, I think this is quite noisy and it's likely to see some sort of internal damage to at least the shaft, possibly those front bearings. So I'm going to pass the car over to Chris now. We're going to get the supercharger off and we're going to start to investigate what exactly we've got on the inside here. Great, so Andy now has got the supercharger off the vehicle, and this is the test that I wanted to be able to show you. When the charger was on, you couldn't quite see where I was, but with the belt off the supercharger, you can get hold of the pulley and rock it from side to side, and that should definitely not be there. There should be resistance as the pulley turns. I I don't know if I've heard one quite as bad as that. That is a hell of a clonk. Andy, you see these all day long. That's a pretty extreme one to me.
That is pretty extreme, to be fair. Well, we don't normally see 10 to 20 mil of free play.
A little bit of slop, a little bit of knock. Like, that's a hell of a...
5 mils normally about where it is with the new coupler on, but that is extremely bad.
Okay. I'm concerned there might be some damage inside, so I think the next thing is we're going to get the nose cone off, which is this section here, and we'll have a look what's going on with the shaft. The coupler is most definitely dead, but there is some good news. If you just want to come this way and take a look. So this is the blades of the supercharger inside. Now, if the bearings had gone, and there is a set of bearings just here and another set back here, you can get a little bit of movement or free play in these blades, but there's none. In fact, they feel nice and tight, and you'll see some wear on the blades here. That's actually nothing to worry about. They will start to get a little bit of wear on the edges, but if that becomes too much because the bearings are worn, you can get little swaths of the blade coming off, been sucked into the engine, and that of course is very bad news. But these blades seem in good condition. This supercharger is absolutely serviceable, and by the way, it's done I think 114,000 miles, so she's not a young girl, but the charger's in great condition. That coupler though is going to be a problem. So let's get the nose cone off and take a look at that. And now, with a little bit of, shall we say, persuasion, Andy has managed to remove the nose cone from the supercharger, and we've got a little tale of horror in here, which I've got to be honest, I kind of saw this coming. We didn't prepare for this, but I've just heard enough of them to know. If you want to come and just have a little look at the collection of parts we have, I think this is quite interesting. So this is the standard supercharger coupler, and actually this is really unusual. The spring itself has actually broken. Now, I knew this was quite extreme by the sound, so part of the spring is still here on the inside, the other part is now completely detached, and this coupler is well truly broken, shall we say. Now, I think it's been broken for some time, and this is the real problem. That spring has literally eaten into and damaged the shaft of the supercharger nose cone. Now, in theory, you might be able to get away with putting a coupler on this, but we have to remember these chargers spin at 18,000 RPM. So really high RPM, and if it's in balance, what all that's going to do is pass the imbalance into the bearings of the supercharger and do more damage over time. So with this particular one, the way that the shaft has been damaged, I'm going to suggest they're not particularly expensive. The correct repair here is change the complete nose cone. You can't unfortunately buy the shaft as a separate product. You do have to buy the complete nose cone. But we know with a new nose cone and a new coupler, this car is going to be good for another 50, 60,000 miles and more. So it's the right repair, and it's going to solve this problem. I hope you found that of interest. It should, I hope, give you an insight into how these couplers fail and the type of noise associated with them, and how you can check if you think you've got a noisy coupler by removing the belt and rocking it, whether or not the coupler has failed. We were lucky in many ways on this car because I think it's been left for quite a long time in a failed condition, but the bearings have not been damaged, which is great news. Now, if you've got a Jaguar Supercharger and you've got a little bit of noise coming from it and you're not sure what it is, we do offer to inspect these for you completely free of charge. We're based in Stratford-upon-Avon. If you want to drop into us, let us know that you're coming. We'll get a technician to come out, have a listen to you, and we'll quickly be able to confirm the type of repair you might be looking at. Ultimately, sometimes you don't know until you literally get it apart, as we have just done with this car, but we can pretty much pinpoint whether or not it's the coupler very quickly. Happy to give you advice on the phone. Sound clips on phones can be a little bit tricky because sometimes modern day phones, they pick up everything can emphasize a noise. But we're quite happy if you want to try and send us a sound clip, or we can have a chat to you and talk you through how to do this test yourself. As always, we're here to help with anything tuning, anything performance, anything Jaguar related. We're at VIEZU.com. Give us a call, drop us an email. We'd love to hear from you.